and AM. Sorry, I'm in Manila time. It's 10:14 a.m. and I call this Ways and Means hearing to order. Before us, we have the Department of Commerce to, I guess, go over their fiscal year 2025 budget. And with that, I believe we do have a quorum to conduct today's hearing. And if there's no objection, can I get a motion to adopt today's agenda? There has been a motion, has been seconded. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. We may conduct today's hearing. Before us, we have the Department of Commerce as well as OMB with Ms. Vicky and Ms. Angel from OMB representing the administration. And with that, may I invite the department and OMB to step forward. Thank you. And before we move forward, I will now hand the um, mic to Acting Chair of Commerce, Mr. Cabrera, for your opening statement. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, Honorable Chair Yumo and honorable members of this prestigious Ways and Means Committee. Good morning, and to our OMB counterpart with the Office of the Governor. Good morning, all. My name is Francisco Cabrera. I'm the Acting Secretary of Commerce for this week. In the absence with the nominee appointee, Secretary Remedium Mofnas, who is off island on official business at this point in time. I would like to introduce the members of the Department of Commerce team. To my right is Director David Martita with the ABTC division. And to the second right is Ms. Bernie Palacios, our Fiscal Analyst Officer, and Mr. Jesse Chong on the far right, representing Acting Director for Enforcement and Compliance. We're here to present to you the Department of Commerce FY25 budget. And, we are in full support with the Governor, Honorable Governor Arnold Palacios and Honorable Lieutenant Governor David Apateng for for next year's FY 2025 budget submission. Considering all facets with our current economic and financial mainstreams, and pray that, with the expectation toward some positive growth. The Department of Commerce will live within its means, and we are ready to answer your questions and concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, Acting Secretary Cabrera. Is there anyone else that's going to speak on the department or just?
My present team will be here.
Okay.
Unfortunately, let me just share, the Director for Central Statistics Division does have a family medical care that needs to be taken care this morning. Our division section with the banking and insurance are unavailable with us this morning.
Thank you. So just before we move to the questioning with the members, with regards to revolving of accounts, obviously there is a big cuts in operation and in all the divisions. Now with the revolving accounts, would that be able to, or is that will be enough to, I guess, cover next fiscal year?
I can speak on behalf of with the Office of the Registrar. I'm also the acting Register Corporation Officer at this point in time. With the current level, with the registrar's account, revolving account, we will be able to suffice the remaining portion for FY 25, 24, and for the new fiscal year FY 25 with its operational needs. And I will yield, and I'll have Director Martita also share.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Acting Secretary. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, the ABTC division will be able to sustain its enforcement operations for FY 25, despite the major costs behind their operational needs. So the revolving account will be sustainable for FY 25.
Thank you. I know the banking is not here, and is the annual reports too included in the revolving accounts, or is that a separate, the annual report filings?
In lieu with the insurance and banking, yes, the banking has the most part with the revolving account because of the SCHEATS Act that was created. Yes, we do have funds in there. What we're working right now is with the Department of Finance Secretary and the analysts, and our analysts also to ensure that our figures matches their figures.
Thank you. Duly noted. Let me open it up to the members. Let me recognize the Vice Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Mr. Cabrera and your the team from Commerce and OMB. Thank you for joining us this morning. How many total revolving accounts are available at Commerce?
We should have about 4 revolving accounts.
Under which divisions?
One with the Register Corporation Office, the Alcohol Beverage Control Office. We also have the banking, and we also have with the insurance.
What's the average collections on the annual basis?
I can answer basically on the at this point in time with the registrar. We're looking at a little bit over 200,000 a year based on collection with the application process and also with the penalty collected.
Yeah, for the alcohol beverage and tobacco control, we have 3 revolving accounts. One is for the alcohol beverage, and the second one is for tobacco, and the third one will be the bitter nut licensees. We average, combining all 3 accounts, we average around 200-some thousand also a year.
We don't have anything for banking or insurance.
With the insurance, I would say at this point in time, we have a little bit over 30 to 40 some thousand dollars in the account. Now with the SCHEATS account under the banking, which is the dormant account, like I mentioned earlier, we're trying to make the balance between the Department of Commerce and Department of Finance. Our record indicated that we're just a little bit just above $5 million, and with finance record that yet to be resolved, our differences.
Did finance get back to you as to when they will be able to give you the accurate numbers?
Mr. Department of Finance, Mr. Komatsu just returned back from an off-island trip, so I was not able to have any discussion with him last week to that effect, sir.
Okay, may I ask when the conversation started with the finance regarding the banking
It
or
started
dormant accounts? Sorry.
approximately about a month ago, sir. We started reviewing our accounts.
And this $5 million figure that's under Commerce, when was this realized, or over how many years was this realized?
The STITS Act came into effect in 2012, and we started compiling all the information. With commerce changed over since the pandemic and the departure of the banking administrator, there wasn't anyone basically to fully monitor the workbook. So we're looking at trying to resolve that matter with finance.
Okay, thank you for that. So back in 2012, I remember that a lot of these dormant accounts are connected to the old garment employees for the cinema. Was this ever submitted to the Department of Commerce to, I guess, our Treasury for notifications to the general public before the accounts are considered dormant and be possession of the central government?
Yes, there were communication that was done, sir. With all due respect, thank you for that question. The clients or the account holder have been coming in, left to right. So we're processing those things that are properly and accurate on a timely basis. So we do notify Department of Finance on who are the clients that are coming in, the amounts stipulated on their request for withdrawal back. So we have a good communication and control in the requests.
Okay, thank you for that. And with the revolving accounts, would Commerce be, I guess, acceptable to continue the process for this for FY25 to allow revolving accounts to be utilized, be more flexible up or down personnel operations?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I know that if this 5 million is a true number, there's a shortage of about 1.4 million. A difference between 1.4 million of Commerce's submission and the administration submission for the budget. This would definitely be way over the request from Commerce. If it's just the 5 million itself, that's already covered the shortage of 1.4, and then the 200 from Register ABTC 200 plus, and about $40,000 in insurance. That would be able to cover over for Commerce. So at least if we include the language to be flexible on the accounts, it would address the full needs of Commerce. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right, and I yield for now, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Anyone from the members that would like to, Rep Camacho?
Good morning.
Hey, so I'm looking at this analysis, and on here it's showing 70 NOPs. That's on the first paragraph. But then, if you go down into the numbers and you add up the numbers, you're short 5. So the numbers where the dollar signs are at, it's only showing 65 NOPs. But if you look at the first paragraph, up on the top, you're showing 70 NOPs. You want me to show it?
Is that the Department of Commerce's
Yeah.
write-up budget?
Oh no, this is yours. No, it's his actually.
Oh.
Now let me talk to him. Why is it short?
I think that's a question to the fiscal analyst. He's the one that prepared it.
You see what I'm looking at?
TG.
Yeah. Which numbers, right? second paragraph. Okay, I only see 70.
Yeah, take a short recess, so we can get that clarification. We'll note that regards to the vacant positions. I just before I recognize Rep Benavente, with the under the Department of Commerce hearing officer, I know we had a communication with the Department of Labor with regards to their hearing officer. Is there an MOU right now with the hearing officer handling cases from the Department of Commerce with the Department of Labor?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, we did have an MOU that was signed between Department of Commerce and Labor for their hearing officers assistance. However, we ran into a problem with how the services will be provided. So it was reviewed by the Attorney General, and the the goal is to have the hearing officer, handle the Department of Commerce's cases, but the transfer of those fundings are questionable. And where the Attorney General came in and it was ruled that it's not advisable to go through that route. But we do have that document signed to have their hearing officer assist Commerce mitigate their cases or litigate the cases. But still, we're pending on some other clarifications and legal clarifications from the Attorney General at this time.
Thank you. And what are, I guess, the number of pending cases currently right now?
For ABTC alone, we have over 70 pending cases. That also it stems back all the way back to 2017 to present. I'm not sure about how many cases. Probably the acting secretary may expound about banking and insurance cases.
Secretary?
Based on the information that we got from the insurance office, there may be one or two cases with the banking. We're looking at reviewing with the administrating hearing office, such as, like for example, closure of one First Hawaiian Bank unit instead of the current two. We need to look at that, whether there's any legality to that for the administrating officer. Now, in lieu with the Workers' Comp Commission, we're trying to minimize everything within my purview and responsibility to mediate the case rather than going to a full-blown hearing.
Thank you. Well, that's a lot. The 70, the 70 cases at the ABTC, is that mostly with stores, or like is that illegal sales of alcohol and tobacco, or?
Yeah, it covers various cases, from selling like the APHIS products that were bought from APHIS at all the retail stores, restaurants, and bars. And, the other cases covers like operating without a license and so forth. So it varies.
And you mentioned the pending case that needs to be heard is from 2017. How would the department I guess adjudicate it going that far back?
Well, that will be the, when we when we get a hearing officer on board, they'll review the case, whether, there's any statute of limitations that depending on the cases that we have, because some of them may be criminal, some of them are administrative. And again, if it's administrative, I do not know what is the statute of limitation because it's not written in our law of how long the retention of those cases may stand.
Okay. Acting Secretary, can we get an update, maybe a write-up as to how this would go about, and that way, if the Department of Labor can't hear any of your cases, then we might have to set aside some funds so that we can at least, get to this 70 cases. That's a lot of
Yes.
cases to be heard. So maybe that's something I can communicate with your office and the Department of Labor, and as to how we can minimize the hearings going back to, I guess, 2017. So we'll put this. I'll leave this as pending to be discussed with Department of Labor. With that, I'll recognize Rep. Beneventi.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, Secretary and Director and Vicky. I'm just, for one reason I came late, and then the next thing is I just open up the sheet and I saw all this vacant spreadsheet, and I saw this vacant position that is right here in front of my face, So I like to ask the Miss Villagomez, if this vacancy, because it's reflecting that it's already numbered and everything, so is it inclusive in the budget proposal?
The vacants are included in the budget, however, they're at $1 vacancies there. We had the department kept the FTE, but the funding is not there, and perhaps maybe some flexibility with the use of the special fund can, restore these vacancies or fill them with
Yeah.
using other sources of funding outside the general fund.
So, at an event, for example, that the vacancy wasn't filled, but yet we put it under dollar amount, and if fortunately something came up and you receive additional funding for it, for all these different vacancies, then do we still leave this vacant or what? Because we don't, how are you going to extrapolate everything out of this if it's, you don't have the right figures?
The vacancies are there because these are critical and essential positions, enforcement, and we don't want to remove it and then have to go through the process of coming back to the legislature for a joint resolution to restore those vacancies. So, to keep the position alive, we kept it at $1. And if potential sources are available, then they can fill those vacancies using outside sources outside the general fund.
Yeah, I think that's more like it as what you're mentioning, but still, with the situation that we have on our dire situation of the fiscal situation, the CNMI, and all the issues that we are confronted with, it's just that I'm not trying to cut each and every one of this, but I just like to, be more cautious as far as how we implement the process and how we administer the process.
Thank you, Rep. Beneventi. Any further, Rep. Marissa?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming over at Monday morning. Thank you, Chairman. Um, so I'm looking at your website, and anytime we don't have the right data, then we are now forced to, not forced, but we end up creating policies that are not sound, and that impacts our social dynamics, right? But in terms of commerce, we're looking at private sector and how we can boost our economy. So, acting secretary, you had come up with your mission. The mission and goals set hereunder are geared fundamentally toward developing sound solutions that would help stimulate the Commonwealth economy by promoting a favorable business environment, attract private capital investment, infrastructure investment, research grants, and job development. You wrote that, right?
Actually, that's the mission statement of the department and the creation of the department.
All right. Can you give me your opinion? Has the Department of Commerce met the mission?
To answer, no.
Can you tell me why?
Well, to begin with, for the mere fact that our funding with the department have continued to be decreased over the years, and due to the lack of manpowers that we have availability, we're not able to conjure with our vision statement. Although we're trying our best with the resources available
Okay.
and try to meet the requirement, and also to put a little info to that extent, the establishment under the Commonwealth Economic Development Authority does really change the impact and the environment of how we can be promoting in future investment in the CNMI.
So you're talking about CETA.
CETA, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have, so basically you guys are collaborative partners.
We're working in a sense to be a partner. However, the based on CETA goals and objectives and mission statement, they're pretty much in the driver's seat.
Okay.
And it's hard to compete and to go into a tangle with them. So we're trying to work something out so that we can have a better, pleasant working environment.
Okay, and if you had a solution to solve that, what would you recommend?
We need to look at what is the major factor of responsibility in enticing business investment in the CNMI. Who will take the lead role? What we're doing right now is we're sort of like the backdrop of any application or business entity that are interested to come out here in the CNMI. We try and capture them, and we make a referral to meet with CETA to that extent.
Okay. Now, Department of Commerce is the hub for the CNMI Central Statistics Division, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And when was the last time you guys actually had an updated status of statistics to the Commonwealth?
I believe, unfortunately, Director Andrews is not present with us here today, this morning. But he does have a wide variety of statistical information that may be applicable with other government agencies and private sector if they do request so. We have PSS that are involved with us in gathering data also. We're sharing that. And likewise, like I said, we're trying to nitpick all the information as much as possible so that Central Statistics can start issuing out information like any budget, grants and everything else. There's supposed to be a number representation, how that can be answered.
So, in Section 2482, the Central Statistics Division is authorized to collect, compile, and report all official statistics covering social, economic, and demographic fields as required to making policy decisions and to carry out purposes of this article and to conduct pertinent censuses and surveys. Information shall be collected to enable the production of official statistics related to the following. Are you familiar with that?
Yes,
And,
I
and
am.
I'm not trying to,
Oh.
I'm just trying to get the information so that we can, this committee can plan accordingly, because without the data, we will be then put in a situation where we would either, cut your budget, increase it, and, something, it might be off, right?
Yes.
So population and housing, health and welfare, law enforcement and administration of justice, data related to social and physical environment, labor force, employment, unemployment, accidents and injuries, income expenditures and taxation, land tenure, land use, asset liability. This is the one. Prices. So your consumer index price.
Yes.
Okay. When was the last time you guys provided a report?
The Consumer Price Index, I believe there was a report that was done 2 years ago, and there was one that is being funneled through the U.S. Department of Census to finalize the CPI.
Okay. One of the things that we're actually having right now is the issues that the Commonwealth is facing is this teeter-totter of businesses that just can't seem to figure out what the main price of short ribs is. I can go to one store and not even 50 feet away from me, I can go to another store. And a pack of family short ribs will cost in this one store $22. I can go 50, not even 50 yards, maybe even 50 steps. Get to the next store and it's now 27. I'll drive all the way down to the south side of the island and it's $19.99. Can you explain to me why there's a difference and how commerce is supposed to be involved in this data collection?
The Central Statistics Division does do a price check also at the stores. They send a survey report, and we expect them that they'll be turning in their survey report also at the same time. We just don't have the manpower, the real manpower, to officially go do and spot check every single material that we're interested to make a presentable statistical analysis report.
Okay, so in your department, what division is responsible for that task?
That's the Central Statistics Division.
Okay, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people in that office currently.
Currently, right now, there's only 5.
Oh, wait, okay.
One
vacant.
One vacant, yes, ma'am.
So your director of statistics, who's not here today,
Yes, ma'am.
I guess I can't ask you this. Then you have an administrative officer.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the function of this administrative officer? What type of supports does she give?
Her main responsibility is the operation of the Central Statistics Office, financially and administratively. And in an open time, when minimization of financial needs and administrative function, she provides assistance also with some of the analysts within the statistics division.
Okay, so it's almost, is it similar to an executive secretary or an admin assistant?
I wouldn't say executive secretary, ma'am, but she's well-rounded in the office.
Okay, and the Department of Commerce has 1, 2, 3, 4. Four admin assistants or administrative supports. Then you have an admin specialist. What is that?
Well, admin assistant is pretty much detailed within the Workers' Comp Commission office. There's also admin assistant within the administrative office and central statistics.
So since this administrative officer is well-rounded, do you think she could be able to provide some supports and go out and collect this data for?
Like I mentioned earlier, when her main duty and responsibility have lessened down during the day or during the week, then she provides that extra assistance
Okay.
to the statistical staff personnel.
So you have one statistical technician.
Yes,
And you have an administrative specialist for statistical research, which is a very vital component of your division of commerce. And you have one statistical technician, you have one administrative specialist, one administrative officer, and a director.
within the Central Statistics
Yes.
Division. Yes, what we do also there, Congresswoman, is that, we also not only operate our business operation here in Saipan, but we also provide technical support and assistance to the islands of Tinian and Rhoda in gathering all those data and
Okay,
information.
and so explain to me how you do that in Rhode and Tinian.
We have a staff in Rhoda, we have a staff in Tinian, but on any activity such as the CPI project, one of the staff from Saipan will eventually fly down to Tinian and Rhoda and guide through again with how the project is all about. Currently, right now, they're operating with the labor workforce survey. They're doing also the agricultural survey and the CPI.
So these two employees work for the Department of Commerce, or do they work for the municipality?
For the municipalities.
Okay, and where are they located? At the mayor's office, or where's their office located?
Department of Commerce in Tinian and Rhoda.
Got it. Okay. So they're not listed here, so I'm assuming the municipality takes care of their salary, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, Acting Director. Chairman Ayu for now.
Thank you, Rep. Flores. Any further? Okay. So I guess we'll just go over the under the general fund personnel, page 100. There is, I guess, 4 vacant position. For one for hearing, we're just gonna leave that. I guess my main question is on the with regards to the alcohol beverage and tobacco, the 5 vacant positions. Obviously, the more officers you have, the more cases we're gonna have. So, in a way, it's a good way just to ensure that the companies out there are selling lawfully, whether it's beer or tobacco correctly. I understand you guys do some investigative where you send in minors just to see if they're selling products to them. So with regards to the 5, would there, since you have some funds to I guess support the vacant position, is that something that you're planning to fill, or is that something that might be requested through the hearing process, budget hearing process?
Well, considering the revenue stream, we tend to try any ways and means that that we can fund all these 5 vacant positions. So we would also be very happy and glad to support the language of this budget FY25 to include if we can tap the resource into our funding revolving fund. But yes, we need that language in the budget for FY25 if we can tap into our revolving account.
Thank you. That is noted. We are going to look into that. Obviously, with the shortage of the operations and supplies, that's also a very I guess, critical items that we need to find those funds because even communication is not included. Um, I believe fuel is not included. So, I mean, how do we go out there and I guess do the inspections? So that's something we're gonna have to look at carefully. Maybe to OMB with the utilities again. I know that was an issue last fiscal year with the other senatorial districts as to who's gonna pay what. Is that something that the administration might consider? Is the utilities again?
At present, I know that there is an allocation for utilities for, the central government. However, that is not sufficient to cover the entire utilities. And I believe in this FY 2025 budget, we did put in utilities allocation that, will be used again for the central government, but would also the central government would need that flexibility again in the budget to allow the departments to utilize their special fund to augment the utilities allocation.
With, thank you. With regards to the special fund, I do know that utilities are also included in a lot of those funds, especially the grants. Are those being utilized? Because last fiscal year there was so much funds from the grants, and I'm not sure if that's being utilized and how that when we spend the funds, the reimbursement comes back to us. I hope, and then what happens to the reimbursement? Does it go back to the agency, or the administration just keeps it?
I know for one thing that the Department of Finance will not process utility payments unless, the departments first utilize, that flexibility that was given to them under the special fund, or if there's programs would allow, if any of their federal programs have utility allocation, then they should utilize that funding first before the general fund.
Thank you. Yeah, there is some funds here, but I don't think it's enough to cover the 12,000 or 10,000 they're requesting for. Way short. Any further members? Rep. Benavente?
Thank you, Chairman, again. And I'd just like to ask a simple question to the Secretary. Is Commerce, business license office under your umbrella?
No, Congressman. The business license, excuse me, the CNMI Business License Office is under the auspice of the Department of Finance, Revenue and Taxation.
No, the reason why I ask is that, the individual who was running down the business license has been requesting to transfer to up the hill with Commerce. And I don't know if that's why I asked you if it's under Commerce or under Finance, but a lot of the things deals with you, and that's the reason why I answer. Another thing too, it's a saving grace for Commerce if they move her up here, and then the office down there is vacant. You don't have to pay for additional office. If there's a possibility or a probability that could be done that way. And not only that, it's cost effective as far as, almost like a one-stop type of process. You go from down there, you come up here, you do all your payment and stuff like that. And then you just go to revenue and tax, revenue treasury, what you need to pay and everything. So it alleviates a lot of runaround. And that's just very simple question that I'm asking, but it's simple, but it means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you for that comment.
Thank you. Rep. Benavente, you?
Yes, I.
Okay, let me recognize Vice Chair, then Rep first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. How many total employees are under the Department of Department of Commerce that are on Rhoda and Tinian? Actual department employees, not municipal employees.
Oh, well, we counted with them, not knowing who are municipal employees or who are direct employees, but I believe the Department of Commerce in Tinian does have 4 employees directly under the Department of Commerce, and there's 4 employees also in the Department of Commerce in Rhoda.
Those are line item department employees, or are they under the mayor's office of the respective municipalities?
Line item under the Department of Commerce in Tinian and Rhoda.
So 4 excluding the resident directors, correct?
Yes, sir. Inclusive with the resident director.
So we got to exclude the resident directors because
okay.
those are not line item employees of the
Okay, so-
Department of Commerce.
Yeah, so we have about three and three.
Because I think there's always a conflict in this process, no? Because when we get to the municipalities and do their budget hearings, it's almost like left and right arm. They're not communicating between the department and the resident directors. I think that's a big challenge that we face. So maybe in order to make this so much to be easier for both the municipalities and the line item department, is to actually extract those employees and put them under the department itself rather than putting them under a resident director, because the resident director is appointed by the mayor, approved by the council, right? So those employees are in a position where they don't know who their real boss is, whether it's a department or the resident director. I know that the resident director they've been communicating well with the line item departments, no, but we need to make sure that those employees are extracted out and are put under the departments respectively, because they're being counted almost twice if you really look at the budget process. They're counted under the department and they're counted under the respective municipalities. So maybe that's one thing, Ms. V, we can consider if we have supplement our revised budget, is maybe extract those employees and put them under the department so that there's no, I guess, when we get to the conference committee, there's no big issues that all these employees belong to this municipality, but with the understanding is they actually are line item departments, employees, if we can do that. And I think that will actually help you guys out a whole lot. And when it comes to to the grants, you're gonna use numbers, no?
Yes.
But when they apply grants, they use those numbers as well. So some individuals are being counted twice when they're applying for grants, that the department and the municipality is applying for those respective grants.
Yes. Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
That's all, Mr. Chairman. Thank you again.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Rep. Marissa?
Thank you, Chairman. Ms. Vicky, maybe you can answer this. So on the federal funds, ABTC has money. Economic development is also, there's some funds here. Maybe Director Maritita, you can go through this process with me. You receive federal funds for your division, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And when you apply for your grant, is there a reason why you don't include utilities?
In that particular federal contract, so it's not a grant. It's actually a contract.
Contract, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So we did include utilities in that proposal for the through that contract. So
So there is utilities
Yes.
and it shows 2,161 on, I guess this is the FDA tobacco, RTO compensation. I don't know what these abbreviations stand for, but it's originating, I guess, ID numbers 4116 0200.
I
That
think
okay?
that's
It's
the
okay.
object. Yeah.
Yeah. So now you have, there's travel here for 36,000.
Yes.
Is that a mandated travel?
It is part of the operational travel because we do provide services on behalf of the FDA to conduct their tobacco compliance inspections. So we fly out our inspectors to, the proposal for Tinian and Rhoda. And one of those travels also cover for myself and my the assistant for, FDA training and whatever credentials that we need to obtain from their satellite offices.
So this also includes Rhode and Tinian.
Yes.
Miss Vicky, I guess in line with Rep.
So under the federal programs, there's always that opportunity for the department to go back to the grantor program agency and ask for a revision of the budget, like for example, to either increase utilities, but we have to be mindful that when we're using federal programs, if they're housed within a facility that shares other programs, then that particular program, this program that we're talking about, can only pay for a percentage of the share, like, I mean, prorated. For example, like if there were 10 people in the building and there's two out of this FDA tobacco, then what's the percentage of 2/10, right? So
Okay.
that would be the only amount that they would be allowed to pay, unless they're in a facility separate from
Standalone.
everybody else and it's strictly FDA tobacco, then they can pay 100% for the utilities.
Okay. And you guys have a current methodology that you use for that?
Well, for the proration, like for example, for the governor's office, we do it based on the number of bodies that are occupying the facility, everything that's in the budget. We
Factor that
and
in.
then we bill CIP and HM and whatever other programs that are within the facility. Everybody gets the
Okay, thank you, Miss Vicky. Gosh, I was going some with this. Director, do you guys, I remember with CUC, when they came in and we were talking about this Nighthawk and certain government entities were afforded this prepaid meter. Are you guys a recipient of that?
We're in full compliance.
But are you a recipient of a Nighthawk machine or meter, or you guys are sub?
Yes, we are.
You, so you're net meter?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. I yield for now.
Thank you, Rep. Flores. We have Rep. Flores that just walked in. Thank you for your presence. Just in line with Rep. Marissa's question with regards to the federal fund, I do note that there are salaries that were, I guess, budgeted under various divisions. But I didn't notice under the submittal percentage of salaries under the federal program. Is there maybe the secretary can respond as to the number of federal employees or covered employees on in your department, or partially paid?
Not to my knowledge at this point in time that we do have a federally funded employee in the department.
Or partially paid salaries?
Partially paid, oh, yes, I'm sorry, I take it back. We have the upcoming, or the ongoing TAP grant that is ongoing, 3 different TAP grants, and they are allowed to hire employee on a short-term basis.
You. With regards to the ABTC, there is salaries. Is there partially paid employees under your division?
Well, not necessarily, Chairman, because we had to submit an RFPA to route for the officers that were recruited as the sanction inspectors on behalf of FDA. So we do work FDA after 4:30 p.m. outside normal government working time, and that's a totally separate NOPA for the officers that are working as FDA inspectors.
So outside of the
Outside,
Okay,
yes.
okay. So this is separate checks.
Separate,
okay,
yeah.
Okay, noted. I guess also with the economic development, I did remember. I guess when I was over there, the SBDC was partially paid by federal grant, but they're not there anymore. Is that the same as the economic development portion of the? Because you have some grants that is covered by the economic development. Does it? Do the grants pay to the staff? The staff that are under the economic development division.
With the Economic Development Division, based on the SBA grant that we have available, like the STEP program and the LFPA program, there are certain percentage that is readily available and reimbursable back on expenditures to the central government.
Okay, so it's
But
just
it's-
reimbursable.
Yeah, it's reimbursable and not payable to the employee.
Not employee. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Didn't know it. I believe that's all I have. Is there any members that would have? Okay, Rep Flores.
And thank you, Chairman. So going back to ABTC, and you have the FDA grant that performs their function after 4:30. That's a separate NOPA, correct?
That is correct, Congresswoman.
Okay.
And it's a contract. It's not a
Contract,
grant, yeah.
okay. You have X amount of employees under your leadership. What are your, do you guys normally work 7:30 to 4:30?
Yes, we do.
Monday to Friday?
And also we do night
Night.
work. So
So you work staggered sometimes, or is that
staggered,
overtime?
yes, staggered.
So staggered hours. And you receive comp time?
The ones that are not exempted from,
Okay. And overtime is allowable?
yes.
On average, how much overtime hours do you guys have in a, I guess, in a payroll, one payday? How much overtime does one officer accumulate?
Per pay period, I would say average is around 16 hours.
16 hours?
Yeah. That's the average.
But they're required to be in the office 7:30 to 4:30.
Not required on a daily basis to be 7:30 to 4:30 because we do schedule them at nighttime. Sometimes 8 hours nighttime, 8 hours daytime. So.
Okay, so in terms of,
So, I'm
ahead,
sorry,
sorry.
the overtime kicks in when there is a violation, you know, when they're on the course of their inspections. And it requires them to extend their hours to, you know, complete their investigations and their reports. So that's when the overtime kicks in on special enforcement operations.
okay, so in any given day, Monday through Friday,
Yes.
how many of your staff are in your office physically?
Right now I have 10 staffs. 3 of them are specially assigned to other task forces. And we would have on a daily basis in my office, I have two, officers that are handling the licensing and also the administrative functions. And for the enforcement unit, I staggered them. I would have two on a daily basis and two on night. So I kind of, try and shuffle them around,
Right.
not to burn them out,
Right.
of course. But, we try to stretch out as much as we can, providing enforcement services out in the community, despite the shortage of manpower. So I try, to mitigate those, the possibility of burning them out, to, even provide them their break times, aside from their day offs. Okay, but this, we do have, and we recognize the challenges that we have out there, but I try to have coverage on daytime and coverage at nighttime as well, to stretch out the presence of our enforcement out there in the community.
Right. Okay, so, you have a function, and your function is to make sure that there is control with alcohol, beverage, and tobacco.
Yes.
Okay. And the reason why I'm asking is because 16 hours of OT, can be avoidable, maybe, if it's being done at night. Majority of the businesses that you actually watch and regulate some of them are in the evening, correct? And some of them are during the day.
That is correct.
So I guess in terms of structuring, right, to be most effective so that you can enforce and collect these fees, right? I'm just hoping that maybe you can consider, kind of utilizing them when you know that there might be some activity, right? I was at a establishment this past weekend, and I can tell you I saw at least 15 minors.
Yes.
And those are the times where you need them in there. Have you also considered maybe doing some hybrid work with your staff?
Hybrid? Can you?
Maybe just have some of them work out in the field where they don't even, and then they can just write up their reports, and work from home, maybe 3 or 4 hours, and then be on the field and in the evening, right? So they don't really have to physically go into, because their job is really enforcement. They
Yes.
should be outside.
Right.
They shouldn't be in the office. So I'm just trying to figure out ways where we can use your people, not overburn them, but commit to the function and, penalize these businesses that are not complying with the law.
Well, just to take that back, Congresswoman, on daytime, we do send out our officers to conduct routine compliance inspections for daytime businesses. Nighttime also, the same, assignments to go out and conduct routine inspections. So we cover both on a daily and nightly basis, with our enforcement operations. I don't just necessarily have to, our officers stay in the office 7:30 to 4:30. No, they do go out and conduct
Okay.
inspections.
That's
yes.
good.
Yeah.
Do you have a quota that they have to meet?
At least, at least 23 inspections
A day?
a day.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
but
good.
again, with that, I'm still pushing it to the limit because for each officer, it's right now with the number of establishments that we have is about 1 to 20 ratio wise.
Okay.
Which again, that's the part there that I really kind of emphasize not to burn out my officers because of the shortage of manpower.
Okay.
Yeah.
So their quota is 20 a day.
20 to 1, 1 to The ratio is 1 to 20, but based on the current number of establishments that we have, licensed establishments.
Okay. I was just talking about the quota that they have to meet every day. They have to go out and
Yeah, at
visit
least, yes.
establishments and, bars or what have you, at least 20 a day.
At least 20, yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
you're
you,
welcome.
Chairman Ayo.
Thank you, Rep Flores. Just last, is there anyone that hasn't asked, Rep San Nicolas, are you okay over there? We have employees in the second senatorial district. So, Secretary, just last, because I did have a meeting with Department of Labor, and they are requesting 2 hearing officers, but they're towards the end of the, I guess they're PUA, but I still can't get over the 70 cases that are still active, and that's something that we need to, especially if the enforcement's going out and doing inspections and citing businesses, but until we get a hearing officer to hear this, what happens to the businesses that they all of a sudden just leaves, or exchange hands? What happens? So that's something that's stuck to my head right now, and something that this body can consider is splitting the 2 officers and adding one just for your department, and trying to get the funds to at least hear the 70 cases within this year, or this next fiscal year. So that's something that maybe we can sit down or maybe you can comment on, with regards to a hearing officer, an actual one that can be assigned, at least for this fiscal year, coming fiscal year.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, on that question. If you recollect back a month and a half ago, there was a newspaper publication that one of the administrative hearing officer from the Department of Labor have exited Department of Labor. So they're down to one administrative hearing officer. Now, we have conversed with Director Martita and our acting secretary, Mafnes, an opportunity where we can do an in-house hiring as a independent hearing officer using our revolving accounts. We need to look at the flexibility on the language of the law on the usage of the revolving account, whether they'll be able to hire on a short-term basis so that we can start clearing out a little case at a time. That's where we are right now.
Thank you. And I think our vice chair is expert in that language. That's something maybe can work on with regards to the revolving fund. But yeah, we'll look into that and consider that this year, because, like I said, 70 cases is a lot of cases that are pending right now, and with Department of Labor having their own issues with PUA, I do believe that the Commerce needs one this fiscal year, and that's something that I guess we can address for this year's budget.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any further from the members? I'm with Rep Beneventi for the last round.
Thank you, Chairman. Again, I just like to go back to the alcohol, tobacco, and I just like to reiterate what Marissa mentioned with regards to the staggered hours and the overtime. That is basically the way I feel, and my experience too. The whole notion of the staggered hours, when you implement staggered hours, is supposed to eliminate overtime at all. To eliminate totally overtime. You're not supposed to be having overtime when you set a staggered hours, because there are times when you're off, and there are times when you go out and cover that, and then another person. So it's a process that everybody has to work together with the scheduling, and I don't see why we're getting this much overtime to myself. I'm not saying, I'm not putting blames on anybody, but I'm just saying that if you're implementing such process, it should eliminate a lot of that.
Thank you, Chairman. And with that, if there's no further, let me hand it over again to the Acting Secretary for a closing remark.
Mr. Chairman and members of this body, honorable members, thank you for giving us the opportunity to meet with you and share some of our answers based on your dire questions. Although we do anticipate with our current economic situation that funding may not be readily available at this point in time. However, we pray that, the turnaround within the end of the quarter and the following quarter of this fiscal year may have some proper digest so that, equal share of the pie can be shared. But I do appreciate your time and effort to hear from us. We do accept and receive your question diligently, and I understand that there are certain information that we have to supply in to your attention, Mr. Chairman, and this body. We will come to that. We will provide those information what's been requested upon. Again, on behalf of the Commerce team, members present, and our division section that were not unable, we will share the discussion with them. And definitely, if there's anything else that we will need from us, we're open for discussion again. Thank you.
Thank you, Acting Secretary, and thank you to your team. I'd like to thank the OMB for making themselves present today, as well as our staff that are here, and the members, of course, that are here. With that, on our adjourn, we'll have, I guess, another hearing tomorrow morning set. And with that, we'll come to an adjournment. Thank you.